So how's it going, my Comic Set Army? We're here today with Kristin and McKay, the creators of Buttercup. How y'all doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So who's who? Who's the writer and who's the artist?
My name is Mckay Wadsworth, and we're super happy to be here. I'm the writer for Current Comics, one of the writers, writing currently Buttercup, Wizards of Aranor, and then our next series that we're currently working on called We Were Giants. And Kristin, I'll let you introduce yourself.
I'm Kristin. I am the illustrator for Buttercup. Eventually we're going to be working on some other series down the road, but right now I'm very busy with college in San Francisco, working on a visual development major, so it's nice that can kind of cater into the comics that we're working on.
Nice. So how did y'all meet?
Wow, that's actually a funny story. So I'm a writer, and I'm currently working on a fantasy novel that I've been working on for the past 11 years. And I was wanting to find a cover artist. And I was asking a lot of friends, and they're like, oh my gosh, I actually know someone for you, McKay, that you could talk to. And Kristin and I, I'm still at Utah State University in Logan, Utah. And they were telling me that there was this amazing artist that was working on her art major there, and her name was Kristin. And she did the cover art for my book, Messenger of Morath. And I was like, oh yeah, like we'll see what she has. And I gave her the book and let her read a couple of chapters. And then by my surprise, she absolutely nailed the cover. And then later we got into talks about doing a comic book together because her artwork was so fantastic. And I was like, have you ever done comics before? And she was like, no. But she was down. Like, she was really enthusiastic about the projects that we were working on. And for her first comic book, like, she did a fantastic job, to say the least. So
have you read comics before this, or is this your first introduction ever to comics?
This is my first rodeo. I haven't really read a lot of comics. I mean, I know they exist. Marvel is very successful in that industry, but I really don't know a whole lot about them. So I actually had to go into a comic book store in Logan, and I looked through some comics, and I unfortunately couldn't look through them because they're all packaged, but I kind of got a sense of what kind of was the style that people were familiar with. So we just worked from there. Yeah.
Where can they pick up a copy of the books?
So right now, we're working on physical print, and all of our comics are available digitally. So Buttercup, our big flagship series, is available through Comiccology right now, and you can just get it like for 99 cents. And we just want everyone to have accessibility to it and to get familiar with the series. But next month, we're planning on doing physical publication. And you can actually go to any comic book store / bookstore, and you can pre-order the issues or even order the issues. We are working through a distribution service called Comics Mainstream. And that's kind of unique for an indie creator to do. Like, that's not really heard of. But we have a really awesome distribution service, and they're helping us out. And you can access our comics through those means.
Okay. They don't need a code or anything to get it from their comic shop?
Nope. I mean, they basically need to know like where to order it, and that's kind of like the big information. Since it's like it's an indie distributor, it's not going to be as accessible, say, as like Diamond or other types of ordering places. So you would need to be like, hey, order this comic through comicsmainstream.com, and then they have their catalog, and it's really easy to access, and you can order the comics from there.
All right. So what's the elevator pitch for Buttercup?
The elevator pitch for Buttercup. So Buttercup, when you look at the cover, it is a very unique title. I've gotten a lot of eyebrows raised. They're like, what in the world is this? This looks like a cat Mandalorian type story. And there's obviously a lot of inspiration towards Star Wars and a lot of huge sci-fi comics that I've read. But basically Buttercup is a story about redemption and loss. Humanity has been completely exterminated. They're gone. and a race called Bastions, which Buttercup is, was sworn to protect humanity. They worshipped humanity, and she is now a relic hunter, and she goes throughout the universe trying to find remnants of a race long gone and destroyed. And so as the reader, you're picking up right at the beginning of one of Buttercup's relic hunts, and the relics are not just, you know, inanimate objects that pertain nothing. You know, it really relates to Buttercup's past. You start to understand that there's more to this race, that there's more to these characters, and it's a very in-depth story. It's not a quick action grab. I think readers will be really surprised. We've had a lot of people read it and give us feedback saying like, wow, this is more than I expected from a cat Mandalorian. Like, I had one person that was like, I just loves cats. And they were like, I was in tears, man. Like, I was reading that. Like, what the heck? You know, they weren't expecting that. And so it's really fun to create a story that people just don't anticipate. So definitely, I say read it. Like, if you love sci-fi and you really want a deep anthology and a really deep story, I think it's really great. The artwork's fantastic, and it's a noir, so it's going to be illustrated in black and white. We use color like for artistic reasons, very similar to like Schindler's List, where like color is like used for flashbacks, like, or color is used for action sequences. And that was the thing that Kristin and I really loved with just the sketching. I was like, let's just do this, you know, and it was kind of a risk and a gamble to kind of take the noir route, but I honestly think it increases the outlook that we were looking for and the tone we were trying to set for the series.
Yeah. I think that's really cool that y'all use color for flashbacks so it doesn't all blend together.
Yeah.
So Kristin, are you doing any side work for art? Like, are you doing any covers, or can people commission you for art?
Yeah, I have commissions open theoretically. I am very busy in school right now, taking a lot of classes, also working, and so that keeps me pretty busy most of the time, but I'm always happy to bust out some commissions. It doesn't take me very long, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where can people get a hold of you for commissions?
I have an Instagram. That might be the best way. It's just Kristin Tingey in lowercase _art. So that's probably the best way to reach out right now.
That's how I reached out.
Yep.
So if you want her art, she's awesome. She's got a ton of sweet pictures and stuff that she's done. So you got to check her out. She's really good.
I'm gonna check the book out right after the interview.
Say that again.
And I said I'm gonna check out the book when we're done with this interview.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out your art. Comic-Cons. Are you going to any comic conventions this year?
We are planning on going to Comic-Con. So right now, our Patreon is basically like the lifeblood of our studio. That's what's keeping us afloat right now. Until our issues are finally released, basically our savings through Patreon has been our saving grace. We haven't used any of the money independently for our own livelihoods. Like, every single cent that has been donated to us has been to fund our projects. And so we have enough money as of right now to print, but then we were like, shoot, conventions are expensive. And so like, we have a really big convention in Salt Lake called FanX, and that is the main goal. Like, we really want to go there. But we are planning to go to a convention in, it's called the Wasatch Comic Con. It's going to be in West Valley. I believe it's in West Valley, Utah. And it's more of like, it's very more focused for like indie developers. You're not going to see like super huge people, but like, still, nonetheless, we're getting involved in the community and we can sell our physical printed copies there. And that's our first goal for this year. Like, tables aren't going to be too expensive, but we are planning to go bigger and more fruitful with FanX in the future.
Okay. Are both of y'all going to be there together?
I hope so.
Hopefully.
That'd be awesome. It's really hard with school. I mean, Kristin can attest to that, because she, like, we're both in college still, but like, she has to do a lot of traveling.
Yep.
Right, Chris?
Yeah, I'm living in San Francisco right now. So I don't have a car out here. I'm taking public transportation everywhere because it's so much easier here in a big city. Yeah.
So yeah, flights don't happen often.
No.
I've honestly, like, Chris and I have only met once, like, face to face, and that's actually super funny because, like, we lived in Logan together, and like it wasn't like we hated seeing each other, but it was just like we were both just busy and we're doing our comics, our writing, and school, and like that was it. So basically video chats and texting have been our main form of communication in creating Buttercup and other work. So it's been really interesting. But we would like to be together doing some signings and getting involved with people, but that would be awesome though.
That's the goal.
Do you do your art digitally or do you do pen and paper?
Both. I do traditional art, pen and paper, lots of painting. Digital art is the more popular approach nowadays in a professional industry. And then I also do a lot of photography. That was my undergrad. And so I have a lot of photography connections because I'm working in the photography department here at the university. So it's nice to be kind of branched out in all the areas.
The really cool thing about the artwork too is that when the comic was originally made, it was inked by hand by Chelsea Watts, who was our concept artist, and Kristin used the concept art as a heavily guided inspiration for the comic, and it took about a year to ink it. And you can actually look at the full issue on our Patreon page. It's also spectacular, but like the creation of the comic has been like physical, like hand drawing, all the way to Kristin's amazing digital capabilities with artwork.
All right, what's the name of your Patreon?
It's just Current Comics stuff, I guess. When we were making it, like, it turns out there was like another Current something, and we were like, okay, like, we gotta, like, we love the name and we're not gonna change it, but like you can just go like on our Instagram at current_comics and you can actually find it in our bio. It's just like right there, and we also have a website that you can access, but it's just like Patreon Current Comics, and you'll see our logo. I'm having it in my background right now. It looks kind of big-ish, but it's pretty easy to find. But we have a lot of awesome content on there. We really try to make it worthwhile because, I mean, you're paying a monthly sub, and like sometimes when you're donating, Kickstarters are cool, but like it takes so long sometimes to like, is it gonna work out? Are they gonna meet the deadlines? So we just kind of wanted to create a monthly community hub. Like we have a Discord service. We play games together. We do artwork with our community. We try to show concept art as often as we can with newsletters. And so far we've gotten really great feedback from our patrons, and we just are really trying to create an awesome and just amazing community with our fan base.
Yeah.
Sweet. So you didn't Kickstart or Indiegogo this? You completely funded this book through?
Yeah, it was scary. Like a lot of people were like, "You're not doing Kickstarter? You're not doing Indiegogo?" And honestly, like in the indie community, when you're wanting to do a physical publication, I know how odd that sounds. Like it's pretty weird. I actually got advice from a guy named Chris Jepson, a comic book store owner in Logan, Utah, and he was telling me that I should try doing the Patreon route, you know, and surprisingly, it's worked really well for us. I'm totally not against like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, but the problem is it just takes so much time to market those types of those things, and we're just in school and we just don't have the time. Like I'm just trying to like do posts here and there, like really trying to get involved as much as I can, but in the end I have like a full day of classes, as does Kristin. So it's really difficult at times to take the time, which is very needed to market your comic. But we try to do what we can.
Okay. That's I think it's really cool. I have not heard of it before, but sweet. Are y'all running into any problems with the paper shortage?
Well, Kristin's been working most with the printing. You tell us, Kristin.
Okay. Printing is a nightmare. I absolutely hate it. I think a lot of that anxiety comes from my undergrad in photography, and printing photography, I imagine, is similar to printing anything else. You want, good files. You need a good computer, good printer. Printing from Photoshop is the best way to go. But I don't know what all of these printing companies are using. I think our distributor, Adam, mentioned most of the printers are printing in CMYK, and that can be kind of tricky with the artwork. So, converting all the files to the appropriate whatever they're asking for. Because I noticed that each printing company is asking for different things, and that can also be kind of tricky. And then different prices, and just trying to find the right one that works for us has taken quite a long time, because I think we wanted to print last fall.
Yeah.
And I was working on it all last semester.
To be fair, though, that company, we were like, no disrespect to Kablam, that was the printer we were trying to go through, but Kablam, like, we would get an email like 5 years later, and we're like, are we ever gonna print, please? And so like we had to really work around and try to figure out some different methods, but Kristin was definitely lead on that. She texted me with teared emojis and much blood and suffering, and so it's been a nightmare, but we're trying to make it work the best we can, as is everyone else in the indie community. We're really just trying our best.
Yeah.
I work for a printer, so when we're done with all of this, I'll send you their information.
Oh, that would be so cool. Thank you.
All right. So,
perfect.
Any social medias? Where do you want people to follow you, or are you on Twitter? The usual?
Yes, we are on Twitter. Curran _comics. You can follow us there. We are also on YouTube. We are just trying to mix it up, do fun things. Like we do Let's Plays of video games and stuff, just trying to get more involved with the community. So we're not just talking comics or our stuff, we're also playing games, having a fun time. It's just a fun time there. We also have our Instagram. We are very much involved with Instagram. We're on Facebook, and so, and you can all if you join our Patreon too, we also have a Discord service. If you just want to donate $1, I mean, honestly, every little bit helps, and you can be part of our Discord community, and we post a lot on there, lots of stuff going on. We're trying to get more involved with playing Among Us with our buddies and streaming that and just having a good time. So please follow us on our social media forums, and if you want to read the issue, 99 cents on Comicology. It's honestly not a bad deal for the artwork that we provide and a lot of other stuff. So be sure to check those out. That would be awesome, guys.
And then you didn't tell us the names of your social medias.
So with Twitter, it's Curran _comics.
Okay.
And then Instagram, it's also, I believe it's just Curran.comics or Curran _comics. You'll see our logo. And then Patreon is also on those links as well, so you can access those.
I'll put them down in the description for y'all.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Is there anything y'all want to say before we go?
Support Indycomics. Not just us. There's a lot of awesome titles out there. There are so many amazing creators. Kristin and I have had it. We are very new to the community. This is our first issue. This is our first rodeo. And we have been so amazed by the outreach that other creators have given us feedback. Especially shout outs to Lost Dominion. And those guys, they have been really helpful. And basically, there are so many amazing stories that you haven't read out there that I just encourage everyone to go find, just share it. If you like it, tell your buddies about it, and just read comics. Simple as that. It's a good time.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about comics until I got into this whole industry, and now I'm like, oh, there's a whole new world over here with all of these stories that you can get involved with. So that's really exciting as well.
I've been texting Kristin like copies and issues. I'm like, hey, read this. And she'll read it. And that's how
I ask, are you reading comics now?
Yeah.
Yeah. McKay, you mentioned one comic that I went and I picked up, and then my sister actually stole it from me. So now she's reading it.
Yeah, my favorite series that has been out for quite a while is Descender by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. It is a fantastic sci-fi series, and they had a sequel series adding on to that called Ascender. And it is basically kind of like Steven Spielberg's AI, but like mixed with Mass Effect, mixed with Star Wars. It's made by Image, so like I guess you can say that's indie, you know? Like it's kind of like I don't know, like I don't really read Marvel or DC anymore. I just personally get kind of like tired of the same repetitious stories that I've seen a lot. But this is a very unique sci-fi, and it's a must read if you really enjoy sci-fi comics. And I was on it, and they do their artwork in watercolors.
Beautiful.
Which is really immaculate. And I showed Kristin, and I was like, hey, if you're looking for any inspiration.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was gorgeous. Very professional. Very well done.
All right. Well, thank y'all for taking the time to come talk with me.
Of course. Thank you for having us. I hope everyone subscribes to your channel. It's awesome. We love the content on there. Please keep doing what you're doing. You do such a great job.
Thank you so much.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.